Well, folks, thanks for having me out here today. I know you didn't come for me, you came for the guns, but that's the whole point of it. A little bit better weather than we had last year. I remember when I got up on the stage last year, it was starting to rain just a little bit, and it was no tent, so it's all right, though. We got a little bit better accommodation this year, thanks to Pete Brown now, and the NRA and IFC, so thank you. It has been my absolute pleasure and my honor in the 6 years that I've served in the legislature to take the fight for Second Amendment rights to each continuing next level. When I first started out, it was wet behind the ears like any freshman legislator is, but I've learned my different stances that I need to take and the different ways that you can work in the legislative process. And it also has been my honor and privilege to work with the NRA and Iowa Firearms Coalition to help craft a Second Amendment agenda that not only respects your constitutional rights, but helps move us in the right direction in Iowa. And some of those agendas we fulfilled this last year in the legislature. Now, unfortunately, we were not ultimately successful because we never got a bill to the governor's desk. And I don't want to make this partisan, but I do want to relate a little story to you. On the day that we were going to debate the Stand Your Ground bill, which is an enhancement of the Castle Doctrine, was the same day we were going to debate the constitutional amendment that precisely protected your Second Amendment rights. And it's that exact bill, that constitutional amendment, that Lance Forbach gave his amazing and just perfect speech on in defense of our constitutional rights. That day that we were getting ready to debate those bills, we let the Democrats in the House know. They'd been on the debate calendar, they'd seen it. Instead of defending your constitutional rights, they chose to run from the Capitol. They left for about 7 hours that day in protest, saying, we don't want to vote on this issue. We don't want to vote on these bills. Why? Because they didn't want you folks to know where they actually stood on your constitutional rights. They didn't want you to know that they wanted to vote against Stand Your Ground legislation and a constitutional amendment protecting your Second Amendment rights. How audacious is that? They're going to run from the Capitol, they're going to neglect their duty and not do what you've sent them down to Des Moines to do. Now, they finally came back, we got the bills passed, we sent them over to the Senate. Unfortunately, the Senate decided they didn't want to take up either measure. They did not want to protect your constitutional rights. What this is highlighting, folks, is that House Republicans committed to you that we would go down to Des Moines, and among other things, we would protect your Second Amendment rights. We would advance Stand Your Ground legislation. We would bring forth the constitutional amendment to enshrine in our state constitution a precise protection for your Second Amendment rights. We fulfilled on those promises. We are ready, willing, and able to do it again, but we can't do it without the help of folks like you and good conservative legislators in Des Moines. We need to maintain the majority in the House, hopefully grow it, and we need to get a majority in the Senate. And we can't do that without you folks. So you got all this enthusiasm out here today? Great, let's go shoot some guns. In the next free moment you got, let's go help a candidate who's conservative and is going to protect your Second Amendment rights. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.